Tom here with another Transformers review. And this time, like I said in the KO Defensor review that I did, we're going to be looking at the KO TFC Uranos Aerial Bots knockoff set. This I also purchased from Sirtoys. It's the complete set, but the way he has it listed, he has it with a space shuttle, which doesn't really make sense with this set. So rather than do that, if you notice, I've got two of the same figures right here. I think that was his air raid. I'm not sure. I don't remember. But whatever way he has these listed, the names are kind of not exactly the same as what they are in the set previously. So this is the set as it is. So we have these are both the arm bots, and then the two legs and the torso, and then this is what the feet look like. They did a pretty good job. These combiner feet are the combiner feet are pretty nice. They have the ratchet for the tilt. They get a little bit of lean back and forth, but we can do that in the combine mode. These are the hands, and yes, they're those terrible knockoff hands that are completely hollow and no individual articulation on the hands as far as the fingers are concerned. And then this is the chest plate for combine mode. So we also have the gun for combine mode, and it retains almost the exact same functionality as the TFC one did. So it still has the extending cannon, and this piece down here comes out to be, oh, it gets a little finicky, kind of pops. It does that when it locks into place, and this is the handle. It's the landing gear for the jet mode. But now we're going to get into the articulation and the individual reviews for each of the bots themselves. So first off, we're going to look at the torso, Silverbolt. We're going to take a look at his articulation and some of the paint apps. So his legs are decent. They're a tad bit hollow in the back. This is because of transformation. They kind of just fold up on themselves. They're not the most amazing things in the world. The toe tilts up and down. There is no ankle tilt. It's just built like that. The paint apps are pretty cool. There's some decent breakup with the color. They're actually not bad, too. The paint apps are actually done pretty well. Surprisingly so. Actually, this is the first KO that I bought from Sirtoys, and I was really surprised at the quality of the paint apps. They did a really good job getting in there with the silver, if you can see the silver in there, without getting any on the actual knee pads themselves. So to continue with articulation, the knee bends like this. This knee pad can articulate with the leg to make it look a little bit better, but you have to kind of fiddle with it, and I usually just kind of let it stick out, because then it doesn't go back by itself. But the knee pad's actually pretty cool. The legs go out to here. They go forward that much because this piece does not articulate on the hip, and then they go back that far. So that's pretty much all you could really want out of legs. It's not too bad at all. You can get him into some pretty wide poses. He has a hard time standing. I think that's just because the fact that the feet aren't designed unbelievably well. So it's a KO. You know, I mean, they don't put too much time into engineering things. They just kind of want to get it done. But so the arms go out to here and all the way up to there. So that's pretty cool. It's got some pretty decent range right there. They do bend. They have an elbow bend. The combiner port does kind of show. You can get it not to, but you really have to crank on the combiner port to do that, and I prefer not doing that, especially when I'm doing like just bending the elbow for fun. It's better than cranking on the combiner port. Also, if you can see, the wrist has no swivel, so you end up with that if you bend the elbow. So the only way to have him be able to hold any type of gun is to just leave his arm like this. You'd have to turn it to do the elbow bend, and it just kind of looks ridiculous. So that's it for the arms and the legs. He has a waist swivel, which is cool. It's nice that they included that. He has a pretty decent articulation for his head. He can look down. He can also look up. He can look side to side, tilt it left to right. So that's pretty cool. They did a good job with that. And then these like jet packs, I guess. I don't really know what they would be. They are articulated as well. You can move them in and out and then up and down, depending upon if you want to have him with them, you know, sticking out kind of like that. That's actually a pretty cool look. So you could do that and have it like that. But that is it for his articulation. All right, guys, this is the mold that I have 2 of. So I'm only going to look at this one once, and the same thing with the legs because their articulation's identical. This is, I believe, Air Raid. I'm not sure. I don't remember if they're listed correctly on sirtoys or not. But so this is him. So for the feet, they have no articulation at all except for the toe from transformation. That's literally all they do. There's no tilt, anything like that. They do have knees on the legs. The knees are a little hindered. They get you less than 90. The legs will go out to here. They go forward all the way. And they go back that far. Now, these pieces are just held in by a peg. They tend to fall out on all of the limb bots. They're pretty annoying. They're not toleranced too well. And this piece also doesn't stick in that well. So that's kind of a bummer. So the arms, though, they go out this far. And then they also go up because of transformation. And these ones are one of the ones, they also don't have articulated wrists. But because the way they did it, they actually, if you bend the elbow, which it does have a full 90 on the elbow, the wrist actually is facing forward. So that's, at least they were ready enough to think of that. That was a good move on their part, because there's 2 other bots. No, one of the other bots doesn't. No, the only bot that doesn't have that is Silverbolt. The paint is pretty dodgy. If hopefully you guys can see this on his leg right here, it's quite dodgy. That's a little bit of a bummer, but I mean it's a KO. It's not the end of the world. There's also some scuff marks on his leg right there. So he has a. Jesus, this won't even stand right now. He also has a waist swivel. So that's cool. He has up on his head, no down, left and right. He can tilt a little bit. It's on a ball joint. It's a really short peg, so that's why. And then these are his guns. They're okay. They're super hollow. They're just pieces of plastic. Nothing too great there. I'm trying to think. There's nothing else that I can think of. He's decent. He's actually not super hollow because they use the collapsing gimmick with the legs, so that's nice. This piece not tabbing in all the time is quite annoying. It never wants to stay, especially when it's in combined mode. That really gets annoying. But other than that, he's pretty decent. So we're going to look at one of the leg bots now to go over the articulation. Okay, so this is one of the leg bots. I'm not sure of his name. His paint is decent. It's not very good. There is some toe articulation. There's no ankle tilt. This is kind of cool. This thruster turns into a heel. So that's pretty cool if they did that. I actually really like that a lot. I think that was a well thought out design on their part. These also help for balance as well on this guy. These are just like the other one, they're tabbed in, so they tend to fall out or get in the way, but it doesn't hinder his articulation too much. So for the rest of the articulation, we have the knee, which this one isn't extended all the way, I don't think. Oh, I'm not sure. I can't get the full articulation. Oh, just fell off. I can't get the full articulation out of this knee right now. And I'm wondering if it's because it's not. Oh, it's extended all the way. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't get you 90. Which I think if I got to fuss with it a little bit more, it might. But that's, I guess that's just going to be how it is. The arms, though. Oh, sorry. No, the legs go out to here. They go all the way forward, and they'll go back all the way, too, because they actually allow this panel to lift up. Normally, that panel's down. Well, actually, you could have it up. It's just, it gets in the way with all this back here. But that's it for the legs. The legs actually have pretty decent articulation as far as that's concerned, aside from the knee bend. The elbows, like on the other one, are in the right orientation, so you can actually have a gun in there. Their wrist has no swivel. The arm goes out to there, and that's it with this one, because this does not articulate any more than that. Yep, that's it. So that's it for arm articulation. The head is Oh, that's cool. They have a ball joint and then they have a hinge right here. It kind of doesn't really ruin the mold, the sculpt that much. That's actually really cool. They did a really good job with that. That's nifty. So yeah, it's on a ball joint, and then you can have him look down, which is cool. The paint, I have a decent scratch right there. That's actually on translucent plastic, but I was waiting to do a review on these because I wasn't sure if I was going to paint them, and I'm going to. I just bought a spray gun, so I can actually do like a decent paint job on these. So I'm actually going to do that soon. I just want to do a review on these because I actually really like them. I really like them in combine mode too, so that's why I wanted to do one. But that's it for articulation for all the bots. This one shares the exact same articulation for the most part, aside from the heels, as the other leg. So now we're going to go into some of the alt modes for them. I'm not going to do transformations. These guys are just like with the KO of the Defensor Menasor. These guys, their transformation, although it holds together very well, it's kind of finicky, and you do have to play with it to get it right. So rather than do it on camera and make you guys watch me struggle, I'm just going to go ahead and do it really quick. So for a size comparison really quick, I wanted to transform up the MP Hasbro Thundercracker and just give you guys an idea of how they scale. And I mean, he's a little bit smaller. I would say he's probably about maybe an inch shorter, and he looks like he's more of a stunt jet than what Thundercracker would be. I'm not really into planes and jets, so I don't really know much about them. But as far as like size goes, they look pretty good. And if I'm trying to see if I can't, so you guys can see exactly. So if they're lined up, this is nose to nose. It's about an inch. It's about an inch difference. So I mean, it's really not that bad. He just looks like a more sporty jet compared to Thundercracker. It's pretty cool. That's it for the size comparison. Now to check out his alt mode, there's really not too much to it. They don't have a ton of articulation. The cockpit actually does open on these, which is cool. That's a nice touch they didn't really have to do. He has landing gear. The landing gear are actually the toes in robot mode. This does come out as well. He's a little hollow right here, but it's not that bad. I mean, you can obviously tell that he's a robot underneath here, but they did a good job hiding the head. Even though it's clear, it doesn't look like there's a head in there. So these fins back here articulate. They both move. And then the wings, you can move them. Just this right here. So I mean, it's really, you wouldn't really ever want to do that anyways. But they don't move here because they lock up against the body. So that's pretty cool that they did that. And then these thrusters can come out and move, but they look much better when they're just up against the body. So for the robot or the alt mode articulation, that's about it. I mean, he's pretty decent. I have some paint issues, but like I said, I plan on repainting these, so it's not going to be a big deal. That's it for his alt mode. All right, so this is one of the arm bots in his alt mode, and the only real issue that I have with his alt mode is if you notice this tends to sag when you have the landing gear down, which I mean it doesn't really matter that much. This one also, the cockpit, the opening articulates. These guys are a tiny bit loose, the missiles, and they're also, all the hollow parts are showing in this mode. But yeah, he has landing gear. This one, obviously, he looks a lot more like a robot from underneath. But as far as hollowness is concerned, this is the only really hollow spot, and then this is filled in by the head, so it really doesn't look that bad. Same thing as the other one, the wings, because of the double hinge, are articulated. So that's also nice they did that. I would have liked to see them paint this, just so it would match the body. Same thing with these hinges. But that's, I mean, I'm planning on painting these, so that's no big deal. But yeah, it's actually pretty solid. He feels good when he's in this mode. The arms are kind of weird trying to get them to lay in here correctly, because they literally just unfold and go into that spot. But other than that, it's pretty good. The paint's not bad. This actually has pretty decent paint, much better than the other figures. The two arm ones that I got are by far the best. But now we're gonna go on to Silverbolt's alt mode. Okay, guys, so back to the only one whose name I know. This is Silverbolt. This is his alt mode. and he is massive. I mean, I hope it's coming across on camera, but if it isn't, just to give you guys an idea, so we're going to do the exact same thing I did with Thundercracker, and we're going to put him as close to the nose of him as we can get. And he is about 2 inches longer than, from nose to nose, he's about 2 inches longer than Thundercracker. So just to give you an idea, that's how big he is. He, unfortunately though, has the weakest alt mode. Basically, what happens is you kind of just fold him up as good as you can, put his legs in whatever position you feel most comfortable with them being in, and then you plug this onto the front and you align these things on the side, and that's pretty much it. However, he does have one of the most interesting ones. This also articulates the cockpit, and this one has the best looking cockpit too. But it's not very good, and it has an issue. It gets stuck, and I'm worried I'm going to break it, so I don't want to screw with that right now. Also, the paint's pretty good on here on this one. The only spot that sucks is this line is actually pretty decent all the way through the figure until you get back here, and then it kind of goes off into the middle of him. But you know, whatever. Like I said, I'm going to try and paint him. But yeah, he's pretty decent. It's obviously just a jet with a robot underneath, but it's not that bad, and he does look pretty cool. He's huge and cool. So there you go. That's him in his alt mode. Now we're gonna go and I'm gonna start getting these guys into their respective modes for the combined mode, and I'm gonna show you how they look, and then we're gonna combine them, and I'll show you guys how they look all together in combined mode. So I want to do a size comparison with Silverbolt in his bot mode, just so you guys can see how he scales next to MP10. Because I don't know if you remember, but in the cartoon, he actually there's in the first episode when they show them, he's pretty much eye to eye with MP10. So I'm gonna show you. They actually did a pretty damn good job. He's close. Actually, he's a little bit bigger. He works perfectly. I mean, this is the scale that they really should have gone for. And while they aren't, you know, MP quality plastic, and they are light, and some of them are pretty hollow, they're the right size. And in combined mode, I mean, they feel like they are the correct size for being an MP combiner. So just to give you a comparison, that's it. He's, from what I can tell, the exact same height as MP10, so it fits with the cartoon size almost perfectly. So there you go. Okay, guys, so here is the entire team, all transformed and in their respective combined mode. So we have the way the legs look, well, not the leg, but the calves, and then the arms. So the arms are identical, like I said before. The gun is transformed into the gun ready mode. So I guess we're going to try to give this guy a little bit of combining going on here. So we'll get the legs out of the way, because I like to do those last. That way we can try and get the arms on him first, so you guys can see how that looks before I have to reposition the camera. So the arms are, it's a little bit of a bummer. The combiner port in there does not articulate, and this doesn't articulate either, so that once they're on here, they're just on there where they're going to be. But they do hold on pretty securely once you get them on. They go on well, and they hold pretty securely, so that's cool. So this one as well. And so that's him with the arms on there. Oop. And he is a Goliath. I mean, those are some wicked big arms. And so I'm going to put the legs on, and then I'll pop the camera off, and I can show you guys what he looks like with the legs as well. If you watched, Ben's Collectibles did a review on the set that came with the shuttle, and that's how I heard about these guys. And then I saw there's a customizer on TFW who did a custom build of these. He did the exact same thing I did. He bought the ones with the two arms that are the same, and then he did a custom build of them, and he did a really good job. I mean, it is pretty darn amazing. If you get a chance, I think his name is Tiger Blade on TFW. But if you get a chance, take a look at what he did, because it's pretty amazing. So, just so you guys can get a glimpse of what they look like in their combined mode. All right, guys, and so here is the comparison with CW Devastator, just so you can see how big he is. He is less, well, he's probably just about a head shorter than CW Devastator. He's really, really big, and I mean, he fits in perfectly. That's the main reason why I decided to get these oversized KOs, because they fit so well with the scale that I think is actually closest to how the Masterpiece size should be. I mean, it's not Masterpiece quality, neither is CW Devastator, but it's a really decent figure, and he looks amazing on a shelf. Alright guys, so I wanted to readjust the tripod so that way I could try and give you a little bit of a better idea of how his articulation is. So his arms do have the ability to articulate upwards. They have 2 joints in them, so you actually get quite a bit of range. He just popped out. But yeah, they go all the way up that high. They have an elbow bend, which gets you 90 degrees, and actually more, but he's, I'm having a hard time keeping him stable right now. His legs, the hip joints aren't ratcheted, so they're not super tight. That's a little bit of a bummer, but he can move his head side to side. It tilts. He doesn't really have an up or down, which is a little bit of a bummer. The arms don't rotate, so that also kind of sucks, but it's a shelf piece, so it's not that big of a deal. But also, the legs, so the legs have a bend. They only go about that far, but they do have a bend. They go out that far straight. They go back quite far. They have the same articulation that Silverbolt has. They go out all the way, but the arms are in the way, and I don't really feel like fiddling with them. And then he has a ankle tilt, which works quite well. It's got decent ratchet in it, and unfortunately, it doesn't have the any of the rubber on the bottom. But you can get him in a pretty decent stance, and I mean, I have him pretty spread right now. If you can see. Yeah, so I have him pretty spread right now, and you can see he actually looks pretty decent, and he holds that pretty well. So that's it for articulation. I'm going to give you guys some final thoughts, and then we're out of here. So for final thoughts on this guy, I would say go get him. I bought mine from Sirtoys. He was only $75 after shipping, and I did the cheaper shipping, and he still got him here insanely fast. The plastic quality's good. Some of the figures feel better than others. Some of them feel more hollow than others. But other than that, I mean, they're pretty darn good. It's the main reason why anyone would want to get this is because of the fact that it scales so well with the Combiner War Devastator. And for that, it works extremely well. As a shelf piece, it works extremely well. So if you want a shelf piece that scales well with Combiner Wars Devastator, then I would highly suggest going to get this. Go to Sirtoys, buy it, $75 shipped. You're gonna love it. Thanks for watching, guys. I really hope you're liking the videos. If you do, subscribe, like them, share them, whatever you want to do. Thank you.